What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the wideband on the 240 because we've been having some issues with it where it's not really reading correctly. So in this video, hopefully we're going to get that all fixed. So earlier today, I took the 240 out on a drive and I'm going over the data log right now to try and figure out what's going on with my wideband. It's really strange. The wideband is this one here, this brown one. So as you can see, it's getting stuck. It's super lean and periodically it drops down and sometimes it drops down a lot. That's not normal. And then right around here, it just stops at 14.7, which usually when that happens, it means the sensor's bad. It sucks because the sensor is new, but it seems like I'm gonna have to replace it. Been watching some videos. It seems that if we look at the injector pulse width, we can tell whether or not it is the tune of the sensor. So basically, you can see how the pulse width is just like steadily going up as the RPMs go up. And we've also got the TPS showing here as the green in the same section as the pulse width. And you can see right around here, around 3000 RPM, we pin it at 100% TPS, so wide open throttle. And you can start to see the pulse width is moving up with it. Boost is moving up and our RPMs are moving up. But while it's doing that, the AFR should be reading pretty rich. However, it is just bouncing all over the place. And when we get to about here, I bounced off the limiter a little bit in first. You can tell by the injectors right there how it just goes up and down. And the sensor just goes way lean, which is not right. And then all of a sudden it drops down to 14.7. So that's why I think I have to get a new sensor. So we've got the 240, and if we just start it up and we look at the dash, so we're going to be looking at the AFR on the bottom left, and just watch what happens when we turn the car on. That is not normal. And originally I thought that it was the sensor, but the sensor is new, but there is a chance that the sensor is bad. So I've been going back and forth with my tuner, Chris, and ECUMaster. ECUMaster is saying that the sensor seems like it's fine. They want me to check one of the wires for it, which kind of sucks because that means that we've got to drop the ECU because we've got it mounted up there, which the ECU is actually way easier to get to now that we redid all the wiring, which if you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. It's up there. We basically cleaned up all the wiring for the 240, so it just looks way better than it used to. But now we have to drop the ECU and we take off the wire harness tape so we can get access to the actual individual wires for the O2 sensor. So ECUMaster told me to check out this wire here, number 5, the WBO RCal, and that wire is supposed to go to pin number 22 on the black plug. And I have this purple wire sticking into pin 22, which is this red wire right here. We have that in there because we're going to test continuity. So if we test continuity between this purple wire, which is hooked up to pin 22, and this red wire, which is in spot number 5, we should get continuity. So we are getting continuity, which means that that red wire is going to the correct pin on the ECU. I'm actually going to do that for all 6 wires, just so I can be 100% sure that the wiring is good. We already checked number 5, and I already checked number 3, so now we'll check 1, 2, 4, and 6. So I continuity tested all 6 wires, and they're all fine. And in the actual software for the ECU, we have it set up for the correct wideband, because ECUMaster, you can do both the 4.2 and the 4.9, and we've got the 4.9, and that's how it's set up as. And at one point, this was working fine. I believe that I have figured out what the problem is. I took that like heat sleeve off of the 6-foot extension harness just to check all the wiring, make sure there wasn't exposed copper and they weren't shorting to each other. Everything looked fine there, but our problem is the O2 sensor that I have. So there are 6 pins in there, but there are only 5 wires. Pin number 5 has nothing in it. Pin number 5 is this red wire. That red wire is the wire that ECUMaster told me that I need to check. That wire isn't connected to the sensor because the sensor doesn't have anything in that pin. So what I believe the problem is that the sensor I have isn't compatible with this setup. So I have another sensor coming with another extension harness, and hopefully that will fix it. Hopefully this sensor can be reused and I can just wire it up to a gauge and then use it on the Skyline, because the Skyline is going to need an AFR sensor. But I believe that's the issue. I'm going to have to redo the wiring because I cut out that harness thinking that that harness was the problem. So, oh well, we aren't going to reuse that. We're going to get a new extension harness. So look what showed up today. This should be our new wideband. So let's open it up. So this is really interesting. This is the brand new wideband from ECUMaster. If you will notice, we've only got 5 wires. So that makes me think the sensor actually wasn't the problem, which good and bad thing. Hopefully I can reuse that sensor for the Skyline. What I didn't do with the last wideband that I got was wire up the plug for it so we can make the 6-foot harness detachable. I'm gonna do that this time so we can save some time, because right now I have to rewire it. So I got my little pigtail that I need to wire into the ECU, all ready to go. I'm really hoping that this new sensor works. If it doesn't work, then I don't know what the problem is. But I guess there's just one way to find out. So I now have the harness wired in. I double checked the wiring to make sure. So now I gotta put the downpipe back in and then put the sensor in, and then we'll start it up, and fingers crossed that we're good. Okay guys, moment of truth. We've got the wideband hooked up. I'm really hoping that this works. So it doesn't seem like it's working. I'm charging my laptop right now so we can do an actual data log of it. Hopefully that'll reveal to us our problem. This is very disappointing, and I'm so done with this stupid wideband. When we first got the ECU and we first did the first tune and everything, the wideband worked perfectly fine, and then out of nowhere it took a shit, and I thought the sensor was bad, replaced it, and now we're here. I'll go over the diagram again and just double check that everything is good. But seriously, it's a brand new sensor, brand new harness, everything's brand new. I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, so I have my laptop hooked up, so we're gonna start the car, see what she's doing. AFR is this guy. It's staying and it drops down. It's doing the same thing that it was before. On the dash it's stuck at 20.8, and over here it's just pinned at 25. It's just pinned super lean. I mean, if we look at the sensor type, we have it set up correctly. It's the 4.9. Everything is set up correctly, so I don't know what the hell is going on. I double checked the wiring. According to the schematic that comes with the ECU, everything is fine. I don't know what the hell is going on. Sensor's new, extension harness is new. So I'm talking to my tuner, and I'm gonna email ECUMaster again. While we do that, this also showed up today, and this is something that I've needed for quite a while, but it's something I just never bothered getting. These are actually pretty cheap. I don't know why I didn't do this a while back. It's roll cage padding. It's different than just like a pool noodle. If you look there, the hole isn't centered. It's closer to this side, so there's more padding here. And this padding is more dense, so when you hit it, it compresses more than a pool noodle, which would just go and collapse completely. This should help protect you. So I'm going to be putting this on the cage in the 240. Before I move my driver's seat closer to the center, I actually would hit my head on the cage every now and then, which is very painful and not healthy. And in the passenger seat, I need to move it over because if you're tall enough, you actually have a chance of hitting your head. So I'm going to be putting this in. Just install that real quick. So this should be a pretty straightforward install. This should take like 30 seconds. All we have to do is figure out the length for which section, which we're going to do from this top bar, and we're also going to do this bar here. So we're just going to hold it up to where we want it, mark it, cut it, put it on, and then wrap some zip ties around it to keep it there. So I mean, we got them all in. Now if I ever hit my head, it won't hurt as much. But we did move the driver's seat closer to the center before, and I can't move it any closer. I got it as close as I could. I need to redo that on the passenger side because the passenger side is still a little bit too far from the center. So I'll have to do that before I throw that seat back in. But I don't know when that's gonna be because I can't get this wideband thing figured out. So one thing I haven't done because it's just way too damn loud is make sure that my two-step launch control thing still works. So let's give it a shot and make sure it still works. So it works. Honestly, at this point, I think all I can do is wait and see what ECUMaster says. While the car was warming up, I had my hand feeling around the manifold to see if maybe there was a leak somewhere that I didn't catch. I couldn't feel any, and I don't see any anywhere. All the vacuum lines look good. I was feeling around here to see if I could maybe feel something. Maybe the V-band was leaking or this flange. I didn't feel anything. The way the Y-band is acting, it makes it seem like there's air coming from somewhere else that is getting mixed with the actual exhaust, and that's what's making it read lean. But I can't find any leaks. so I don't know what's going on here. The car felt normal when I drove it last weekend. I just did a couple pulls to data log and test it, but at this point, like, I honestly don't know what to do. Please leave a comment below if you know what the problem is, if you had an ECUMaster and you've had the same issue, or if you've had the same issue with your wideband and if you solved it, because I'm at a loss right now. Me and my tuner Chris, we're trying to figure out what's going on here. We're probably just gonna have to wait and see what ECUMaster says. I sent them another data log with this new sensor. I explained to them what situation we're in and everything that we've done so far, so hopefully they can get this figured out. So of course, once I put the car cover on and call it night, my tuner Chris tells me to bump the fuel pressure up, see if that changes the AFR, if it makes it run richer. So guess what we're doing? This is what our fuel pressure is at right now. That is with the fuel pump constantly on, so that's what we would be at wide open throttle. But this is also boost reference, so it'll rise with boost. So what we're gonna do is take it from, well, it looks like 42 and bump it up to 52. Right about there is about 52, so we'll lock this nut down, start her up, see what she does. So that didn't do anything either. The idea behind increasing the fuel pressure is that maybe the injectors are clogged, and if we increase the pressure, then more fuel can go in the cylinder. Maybe that's why it's reading lean, because it's actually running lean. But we increased the pressure, didn't really change anything. It's still doing the same thing. So Chris said that he wants to throw this on the dyno and see if his wideband and everything is reading the same as mine, and see if we could figure out the issue on the dyno. So that's what we're gonna do this weekend. So as of right now, I haven't heard anything from ECUMaster. I emailed him a few hours ago though, and it's after hours, so there's a chance they'll get back to me tomorrow. But at this point, all I gotta do is just get it ready for that. We will see what happens. But that is going to be it for this video. Again, please comment below if you guys have had this issue, or if you know something that could help figure this out. And then hit that subscribe button. I want to do something special for 2K subs, because we're almost there, so stay tuned for that. There'll be an announcement in a separate video. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.